Hey, what's going out there, YouTube land? My name is Peak Panda, and I'm a content creator over on TikTok. So recently, I've made a couple different videos talking about the rank system in Apex, how it's fundamentally pushed a lot of players out of the game. One of my friends asked me, what would I do to fix this issue? So in order to solve a problem, you have to first identify what made the issue in the first place. Roll the intro. A lot of people have said that there's a lack of content in Apex. I am not going to disagree there. Content has always been an issue in Apex. So we can't really point to that and say, yeah, that's the definitive issue as to why people are not as interested in the game anymore. Yeah, that's a factor, but it's not the main concern, the main cause. What else changed between Season 12, Season 11, up until now, Season 13? Well, one of the major changes that happened was the rank system, Ranked Reloaded. You know, it was a bit of more of a challenge to gain RP, especially in lower lobbies. They raised the tier level RP costs of each rank. We also saw the addition of rank demotion or tier demotion. So this is where the first set of problems come in. A lot of these Master and Pred teams, they got sent back into regular population lobbies with normal gold, plat players. So for the first week, all of these regular average players were facing off against top level teams from the start. And this caused a lot of issues all around. My guess would be is that a lot of players decided not to play ranked for the first few weeks or so, just to get all the sweats out of there. They decided that, oh, I'm not going to play this week. I'm going to just wait until next week or whatever. Then they try and go back into rank, and they find out that it's not that easy to gain RP. But looking at what the player perspective is, and they look at what it takes to get to a gold 3, it's now increased by 4,000 RP. Whereas before, they only would have to gain like 2,000 RP, let's say, to get into gold or whatever. So why is that an issue? For the average everyday player, they may be only gaining anywhere from 2 to 4k RP, let's say, in a split. But now you've made it a little bit more difficult to gain that RP, and on top of that, you've increased the RP tier levels for each rank. So you've significantly reduced the amount of time that a player has to get into those ranks. And a lot of pro players didn't see that from the start. They thought everything was all hunky-dory and fine. Actually, a lot of pro players said that this was one of the best systems that they've ever seen. But here's an issue with this. Pro players are not always correct about everything.
Oh, Squidward.
I know. Shocker. Absolute shocker. To imagine that people that play this game at all hours of the day, every day, at such a high level, they wouldn't know what was best to fix the game. But that's exactly why they didn't know what was wrong with the system in the first place. They play all the time, every day, every single day, with players all the time, every day, in a Discord group, and they play it consistently. Well, take this for example. So then you have pro players that say, well, now this is a perfect system. It takes a little bit longer to get to the ranks that you actually deserve, and it's going to show people where they actually fall. Okay, well, they play 8 hours a day. They belong into an inner circle, an inner group of a bunch of different players in Discord that have either played competitively in a tournament, or they are pros themselves, or they are a high tier player. They're not playing from the perspective of someone that plays 2 to 3 hours a day, maybe every other day, and they may not have like a roster or a team to play with. They may have to go solo by themselves sometimes into rank. That's not very conducive to a good ranked experience. They think it is because from their perspective, playing 8 to 10 hours a day with a full roster of different high-level players, that it's a good system, but not everyone has access to that. And I don't think that we should treat a rank system in that regards. So when I say that pro players don't always know what they're talking about, this is a prime example. They're not looking at it the lens through an average player. And for some people, that's easier for them to do, and for some people they fail to see it at all, so they will never see the problem. So this is why I have an issue with a lot of people parroting what pro players or high tier players levels say as facts, because yeah, they do play the game a lot, but that doesn't mean that they know what's best for the game. How do we go from here? What is going to be the solution that helps the game out so that it can be enjoyable for the majority of people again? I don't remember anyone asking or saying to Respawn to increase the tier levels of RP for each rank. To put it simply, they made it a little bit more of a climb to gain RP, and on top of that, they increased the tier levels for each rank. That just seems backwards to me, especially for a mass majority of the player base that only plays 2 to 3, 4 hours a day, maybe every other day. Why would you do that? If they want to have a more grindy RP gain, they need to change back those RP tier levels to where they were. It didn't help players in the first place, especially those that only played maybe an hour or two of ranked a night, and they played a total of 4 hours. They didn't want to spend all their time playing ranked. Maybe they want to go into pubs and have some fun and chill out. That is the average player. The average player is not spending all of their time in ranked. I've gotten a ton of different comments from different people saying that casual players do not belong in the rank system, and that casual is just trying to ruin the game for me, etc., etc. I've tried to explain this 10,000 different ways to different people, and I will explain it again in this YouTube video. Casual is just so broad, it's ambiguous. So in a game, the player wants to complete the objective. So what is the objective of Apex? It's either to get kills, it's either to win. So I would tell you that a good 99% of players out there, they want to get kills and they want to win. What is a casual gamer then if almost 100% of the base wants to get kills and win? Well, we have to look at a few different factors. One determining factor that I see popping up in definitions of casual is time spent. So if most players, if their objective is to get kills and get wins, and then what does a casual player mean for Apex? It simply means the amount of time that you put into the game, whether that be 2-3 hours a day every other day, or whether that be 10+ hours every day, all day, every single day throughout the rest of the entirety of the game. Because casual is so ambiguous and so widely spread out, there is no definitive line that you can say that a casual doesn't belong in ranked. It's just way too broad, because I've said this before in multiple videos, but it needs to have a nice curve in order for it to have better matches for everyone, because you're going to closely more align with players that think and play at your skill level. Respawn needs to realize is that not every person has a bunch of people to play with. Ranked has the interest nor the time to want to sweat it out in ranked every time they play. And Respawn needs to realize is that, for the average person, those goals that they've set in the rank system are not obtainable. So my suggestion to Respawn would probably be to revert those increased tier level RP levels back to where they were. That was just ridiculous. I don't know why. No one asked for that. Let's change those back to where they were. Many people are saying that this rank split is better, and I wouldn't know if there's going to be a change with that or not, but I see a couple issues with this rank split. So in my video on TikTok, I explained that Twitch had some of its lowest viewership that's ever seen, and only getting on to see top streamers play. So what Respawn did was they changed the entry costs to each rank. They lowered them a little bit, and they also set everyone back 4 tiers instead of 6 tiers in a split. This is the issue that I see with this. I don't know if it's happened yet by the time I recorded this, but setting players back 4 tiers instead of 6 is a major mistake for the top level of play. And the reason that I say this is because if you set those top level players back only 4 tiers, they're going to be in Diamond 4. They're going to get pred probably within a few days, and they're not going to have anything else to play. What kind of system is that? Especially that, you have these top players that bring in the viewers for Apex, because God only knows that the viewers aren't there to look at the game. So what happens when you have your top players who stream the game, who bring the audience? They end up getting bored because they got pred in 2 days of streaming. They're going to go on to another game, and then you lose even more viewers. So I don't think the changes that Respawn did to this rank split are healthy for the game either. If I were Respawn, I would change back what they did. I would revert it all back. Just bring it all back. I think the best ranked system that we had would probably been season 11. That was as close as it could have gotten, and as far as scoring wise, to a good rank system. But now what we need to look at is how can we improve upon that. Everyone asks for ranked emotion. I haven't heard a single complaint saying that ranked emotion hasn't done its job the way it should be. I think you should leave that in. Before, a lot of Diamond 4s and Master level players were just griefing other people's games because they had nothing to lose. If you're playing ranked, you should be playing with the mindset that you're going to lose something. They didn't have that. So tier demotion or ranked demotion is a good thing for the game. It's healthy for the game. It's needed for the game. Next, what do we need to look at as far as the high level of competitive play? So a lot of players were getting bored around Master and Pred level. I think we need to split up those ranks a little bit. What should happen is they should have tiers of Pred. I think there should be like a tier 4, a tier 2, a tier 3, and a tier 1. And I think that gives players something to actually grind for, but also not feeling like they're complete shit. If there was like a tier 4 Pred badge or whatever, most players would say, okay, I'm happy with that, I'm cool with that. If there were the extra really grindy people, they can get a Pred badge that has their number placement on there. In fact, that's one of my ideas. One of my ideas for this game is I think that the top 60 standard number of total players in a BR, the top 60 players need to have a special Pred badge with their placement in the top 60. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever, etc. You get the idea. It makes those top 60 spots even more valuable than just getting a Pred badge in the top 750. If you were to get a top 60 spot along with your number, there you have something extra for the top level players to grind for. So I think we need to split up that top bracket a little bit more. I don't think it should just be 2 ranks. As far as bringing those players back into the game, it's going to be quite hard. It's going to be a challenge because Respawn is a smaller game development company. They don't have a huge robust team like Epic Games, for example, where they make Fortnite. A lot of content creators have compared Fortnite's content to Apex content. I would take a look at the vault of LTMs that you've already developed in the past and rotate them into a weekly cycle. Even if they're old LTMs, I'm sure a lot of people would like to get the third-person mode back into the game. A lot of old LTMs, even though they're old, would definitely generate a lot more space for casual players to play in, and it would make it feel like the game wasn't such an ultra big sweat fest in every single game that you played. Having more game choices and game spaces within the game allows players to pick and choose how they want to have fun. LTMs are a great way for low-skilled, low-time players to enjoy themselves. Respawn, I miss the days where you would put little Easter eggs in the map. I miss finding those Easter eggs. I miss the days when you would do elaborate stories to introduce a character. Now you don't do that anymore. You just throw the character out in a cinematic trailer, and that's our introduction to the character. Please go back to the way things were. And I think overall, if that were to happen, I think the game would be in a lot better place. Is it plausible that it does happen? It would be a very difficult change to make. The only thing that I could probably see doing in the immediate future would be the rank changes and balancing out the rank changes, because that shit has affected everything a lot. And if the rank changes were made, I would see the player base becoming tolerable of Apex again. Not necessarily interested in the game, but it's tolerable. This is my first YouTube video ever, so it's going to look like shit. I know it's going to look like shit. I'm going to have a weird title card that says, Peak Panda, this is my shit video thumbnail. Who knows? If this video does well, if you guys like, subscribe, and follow me on my other socials. I'll put them in the description of the video. Maybe if this video does well, maybe I'll make more. I have no idea. Hopefully I'll catch you in the next one, because I don't know, because maybe this shit will just completely flop, but maybe I'll catch you in the next one. I don't know. See you later.